Hate for their light, hate for their pins, for their waste poured thick and endless. Fill your hearts with hate, for power now has been claimed, and with it we shall punish. The mention of Bilewater is enough to send shivers through the spine of a lot of Silksong players and giving them PTSD. It's the most hated area in all of Silksong. But does it truly deserve all the hate? Hey everyone, I am the Bonfire Keeper, and to answer that question, I first need to talk about why this area gets so much hate. For most people, the first time they experience Bilewater is after coming through the Sinner's Road, which can be a really hard area on Act 1 on its own. We fight really annoying enemies, the macroaches, a bench that we pay for, and then have to do hard platforming just to access it, and then find the secret entrance to Bilewater. But just when we let a sigh of relief release, thinking we are going to catch a break, everything just gets 10 times worse. First of all, what does Bilewater actually mean? Well, to put it bluntly, bile means the digestive fluid made by your liver to digest things, and the area does live up to its name. The muck maggots filled water taking our ability to heal the moment hornet's toes touch the water. The land area is filled with traps in every step we take, making us constantly be on guard. And on top of that, there's the Swamp Squits. These annoying enemies would keep spawning endlessly. They are the first enemies in the game who take away a very important ability of exploration, staying still for a moment in a new room and planning the next course of action. No, because no matter how many times we would kill them, they would keep spawning. It forces you to move constantly in this very hostile and unfamiliar area. And on that very first experience of Bilewater, we have not seen anything like that in the game so far. So we are caught off guard. We don't even have a map for this area at this point, but we can't stop because of those swamp squits. Despite being a pretty open area, it starts to feel a little claustrophobic. And before finally reaching the Bilewater station, we see Chakra's ring stuck to an area that is not reachable at this moment, and we think, oh, this is probably a mid to late game area. Maybe with double jump and a few more upgrades, it won't be that bad. But unfortunately, that is not very accurate, is it? Yes, we have much more freedom in Act 2 with the claw line and the double jump, and probably a few more masters to last a little longer. But it opens up a whole new conundrum, a pretty annoying platforming section, introduction to the Stilkin tribe, and the most annoying boss run in the game, and obviously Groal the Great. But why? Why is this area in particular feels so much more hostile and out of place than anything else in the game? This area has a resemblance to another area in Hollow Knight, the Hive. Both of these areas have entrance sealed to the outside world. They are separated from the rest of their respective kingdoms, making it easy for one to completely miss them. But they had their very different reasons. The beasts separate themselves because they didn't want to do anything with the Pale King and wanted to live peacefully among themselves under their Queen Vespa's rule. They would be very defensive against anyone entering their hive that is not a bee, and would definitely kill them, but it never came from a place of maliciousness, as it had to do more with them preserving their own culture. But that is not the case with Bilewater. Bilewater is filled with hatred against anyone who is not a native of this area or a part of the Stilkin tribe. The poison is not just in the water, it's in every bug's mind that lives here. According to Hornet's journal entry about them, they know well their domain, lurking in wait in its byways and bogs, always ready to pounce. The Stilkins have evolved themselves and trained themselves as their homeland changed into this wasteland that it is now. Anyone who is unfortunate enough to enter will be ambushed at any point and killed by them, and a lot of their hate towards the outsider were not unjust. For years, the Citadel, controlled by the Weavers, dumped their waste in Bilewater through the putrefied ducts. They slowly polluted the air, the water, affecting the native inhabitants, turning the once very clean watered area into this maze. The pollution also most likely caused mutation or even possibly spawned the Marmites or the Swamp Squits. This practice went on even long after the Weavers already left, and it justifiably caused the Stilkin tribe led by Groal the Great be turned completely against the Citadel and everyone involved in ruining their homelands. Let it be the regular inhabitants of the Citadel or even the pilgrims who worship them. Everyone was an enemy to them, especially Hornet, since she is part Weaver and her kind is responsible for starting all of this. Can they truly be blamed for their hatred to a world that turned their once clean and peaceful land into this wasted, poisonous hellhole? There's one corner of Bilewater that still resembles what it used to be. It's a very small, isolated area where Chakra Squits leads us to. And the difference between that beautiful small corner and the rest of the Bilewater is drastic. It gives us a different perspective and understanding of how these bugs here failed. And somehow with just gameplay alone, Silksong communicates these feelings with us perfectly. If Bilewater was not hostile, unsafe, making us be on our toes all the time, making us feel unwelcomed, that amazing storytelling through the gameplay might have been lost. Now I know Silksong is not a Souls-like. It does share some similarities with them, and I want to talk about one particular level design, the Poison Swamp area. Every Souls game and Souls-like game has that one Poison Swamp area that might not always be a fan favorite, but it's always there. Let it be the iconic Blight Town or the newer swamps of Kaelid. I've seen a lot of people call Bilewater the Blight Town of Silksong, which I personally don't agree. I think it has more similarities with the Tomb of Giants from Dark Souls 1, which captures the feeling of being stuck in an extremely dangerous area perfectly, where you are even scared to make a small move, and the only safety is near the bonfire, or in this case the bench. But I digress. These areas have always been part of controversies as whether they are needed as much or if they are just unfair or unfun. But I'm not bringing this point up to determine whether or not Bilewater is needed. One other thing these areas do is that they elevate other areas. Blight Town exists so we can truly comprehend how beautiful Anor Londo was. Kaelid exists so we can understand how advanced the Leyndell royal capital was. And Bilewater exists so we can experience how grand the Citadel was. These areas and oftentimes the bosses they contain make other areas and bosses look way better than they would have usually looked or felt. Yes, Groal is not a great fight I enjoy or like very much, but after experiencing Groal, Carmelita feels a lot more special. If I take the path through Bilewater to go to the Citadel for the first time, instead of blasted steps, it feels different. Citadel somehow looks more beautiful, and somehow it makes sense why these pilgrims are trying so hard to come here. And at the end of the day, Bilewater leaves a bigger impact on our mind than the majority of the other areas like Greymoor or Shelut. Now all that said, I don't think Bilewater is without its faults. Making the Groal run a little shorter, making the enemy number a little lower probably wouldn't have taken too much away from that experience. And I can also understand the people who quit playing the game because of Bilewater. After all, this area comes suddenly in your face without preparing you for it at all. And it feels very different than the rest of the areas. It's totally fine if someone was not ready to go through the hell that Bilewater is and bailed out, deciding it's not for them, even though it makes me sad that they won't be able to experience how beautiful the rest of the game was. After all, the difference between Deep Nest and the rest of the Hollow Nest is not the same as the difference between Bilewater and rest of the Pharloom. And now that I'm trying to beat the full game with just the Beast Crest, Bilewater even somehow feels more hostile than it usually does without the ability to heal on command. And I have been on the verge of giving up, but the satisfaction of beating an area like Bilewater and not giving up is a feeling that is also unmatchable with anything else the game provides. And for that reason, I think Bilewater deserves his credits. But that will be it for me today. What did you think about Bilewater? And what was your experience? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe for more Silksong content. And I will see you next time.